Hi, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kit.
Welcome to Starry Time, where stars plus lines.
Equal stories.
This is episode 3 on our monthly constellation, Corona Australis, the Southern Crown. Last week, we reviewed and reconstellationed the myths of this constellation.
So now it's time for our silliest segment or episode, which is called Pop Culture Superstars. And in this segment, we share our favorite and least favorite occurrences of the month's constellation in pop culture.
Then we take over the constellation brand and wish upon a star for what we hope existed.
So this month was a little tricky because there really wasn't anything called exactly Corona Australis out there.
I didn't see a single Wikipedia disambiguation page, which is generally where I start and branch out from.
Exactly. So we agreed to focus on the Australis part of the constellation or on something called the Southern Crown, just sort of gave ourselves a little bit more leeway for this constellation.
Exactly. And that brings us to the twist of this segment, is that we don't share our selections or ideas with each other beforehand.
And occasionally we have vast departures of what we like.
Did someone mention a Sagittarius Serpentarius?
A 4-foot bird that will terrorize your dreams.
AKA man's true best friend?
Agree to disagree.
Hmm.
So let's get started on our favorites and least favorites. Do you want to start us off with your favorite pop culture appearance of Australis? And I think I know what it is, but I think we have the same one. But Jordan, do you want to start off with your favorite?
Yeah, I think this should clue you in. I'm going to start off with 2 words and a number.
Oh, okay.
Dino Crisis 3. Ever heard
Oh,
of
no.
it?
That's not what I picked, but yeah, tell us about it.
Wow, I
Wow.
thought for
I'm kind
sure
of
you were so confident that you knew what I had picked. Dino
yeah.
Crisis 3 is an action adventure video game. It came out in 2003. It's a type of game where you fight dinosaurs or other prehistoric animals. But this episode of the game, since it's the third one,
Right.
is we've moved on to mutant dinosaurs. So
Oh,
these are
oh.
mutations that are created from DNA that are extracted from various dinosaur species. And the game itself,
hmm
it actually takes place on a space station. Perhaps this is where
What?
dinosaurs on a spaceship, the Doctor Who episode, came from. Well, now I'm just really glad we don't have the same one. I thought for sure you've been
Yeah.
thinking about the Australis, which is one of the species in this game. It's
Uh-huh.
around 65 feet long
Oh
and
my
somehow
gosh.
only 20 feet tall. It's related to the Tyrannosaurus. It
Uh-huh.
shares a similar body plan, although luckily the Australis does have a second row of teeth on the
Oh.
inside of its jaw, which is a lot like a mosasaurus. And this is the best part, Kit. Due to other
Yeah.
anomalies in the species creation, again, this whole episode, this whole game takes place in the 23rd century. Don't worry
Right.
about it.
Dr. Wu is still alive, though. Don't worry.
Definitely. Well, due to anomalies in the species creation, the Australis skin does not
Uh-huh.
cover its entire body.
Oh,
So there
is it?
are
Oh,
muscles that are
no.
exposed. So it's
This
sort
is
of,
a
I
Dr. Wu
guess,
creation.
so if you're trying to imagine it, just imagine a giant zombie T Rex
Oh my
um,
God.
that also has an electricity generating organ.
Duh.
So it can like also like it's like half exposed, but also like bleeding out electricity. And yeah, it's experimental in origin, of course, created in the Ozymandias DNA library, and they did thrive on board of the ship until their extinction in the year 2548. So yes, the
Wow.
Australis, the zombie T-Rex of Dino Crisis 3 is my undoubtedly my favorite pop culture appearance of Australis, and I'm somehow baffled it's not yours.
Yeah, I'm also baffled. This dinosaur sounds like a monstrosity, right up
Oh,
there with
it's
Scorpius
bad.
Rex.
It's I would say worse than Scorpius Rex in some ways. I'll
Wow.
send you a picture for the socials.
All right, great. Okay, well, yeah, that is not
2003 graphics also don't help, which is another
no.
pleasurable part about.
Let me tell you
Please
about
do.
my favorite because I know you had some backups. So and I think you'll quickly see um why I thought this was going to be your favorite. So my
Is it one of my
favorite,
top five career options?
yes, yep,
Yes, it
it
is.
is,
Yep,
it
that's
is.
number two. Yep. All right, keep going.
So what we're talking about is Terra Australis, which was
Yes.
a hypothetical continent
Mm-hmm.
that was believed to be present between the 15th and 18th century. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the basic premise was like, we don't know like if there is a continent down in the southern hemisphere, but there probably ought to be because there's one in the northern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see this Terra Australis on maps from the 15th and 18th centuries. And yes, I thought it was going to be your favorite because of your beloved field of cartography.
It is on my favorites list. In fact, it is listed above Dino Crisis 3. Well, when you're looking at this kind of lost continent type of cartography,
Mm-hmm.
that's my favorite of all. So like
Yep.
these imagined land masses or hypothetical continents, like that's certainly my favorite. So giving Terra Australis its due. If I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
found Zombie T-Rex from a very obscure and bad video game, which perhaps barely counts as pop culture, Terra Australis and its role in cartographical development, like you said, over those 3 centuries, definitely has been something been on my mind for a long time.
Yeah, I also saw that, Ptolemy was also somebody who was sort of theorizing about the idea that, the land in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere should be balanced. So it even ties into our good friend from our cosmic background segments.
It's a great choice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Did you
All
have any
right,
other favorites?
I did. I have one more favorite. Did you as well, or no?
Nothing I felt as strongly about.
Yeah, my last choice was just Australis aquaculture, which was on the
Yep.
disambiguation page. Yeah,
Yep.
disambiguation page. You know, it just seemed like they were interested in sustainability, offshore aquaculture. I learned what a barramundi is, which I
Yep.
didn't
Me
know
too.
before. So what is it on three? Let's say it. 1, 2, 3. Sea bass.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
just I just learned that it was a fish.
Oh, great.
Uh,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I had to learn what a barramundi was. And the
I
whole
did not know
reason
what it
why
was.
it's on my top three is that I like eating fish. You know, that's the
Yeah.
whole reason. It's
Well,
based in
it was also on.
Massachusetts.
Yep, it was also on my list because I just liked the name.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went into a deep dive about what aquaculture was because I didn't know
Mm,
what it was, and it's
yeah.
um, basically like farming but in water, and
Mm-hmm.
it can be like plants, it can be fish, those kinds of things. And but then like I was like, is this good? Like I know it like it's sustainable according to the people that do it, but like should we be doing this? And so
It's
my
also
conclusion was,
sustainable according to the Wikipedia page about it.
well,
So
yeah,
let's
very reputable.
shocker. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it seems to have like pros and cons. Like, right, there are some ethical concerns about, fish in captivity, blah blah blah. So I wasn't like really excited to make it my favorite, but it does have a good name. I like and I learned something new. I did not know what aquaculture was.
But yes, you investigated the ethics of this company and aquaculture as a whole. I learned that barramundi is a word for sea bass. So
There you
together,
go.
we came together and learned, a little bit about, something new. All right, Kit. Least favorite again, not a wide swath of
Mm,
territory to choose from. Some old favorites for sure. Do you want to start this time since I started with
yeah,
most favorite?
yeah. So I don't know how to pronounce this exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I ended up sort of going into the scientific names of animals. That's sort of where I found something interesting. And what I found was the giant Gippsland earthworm, also known as Megascolides australis. Megascolides coslides. I'm not sure. And this is a native Australian worm that
Mm-hmm.
is 3.3 feet long
Don't
and
like
about
that.
and about 3.25 inches in diameter. And there was a picture, and the moment I saw it, I said, "Nope, yep, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it for me." So,
Yeah.
giant earthworm.
Woo! I don't like that at all. That could
No.
stay on, Skull Island with King
Yes.
Kong and the rest of the giant mutant creatures, as far as I'm concerned. With Australis, the zombie
Right.
T-Rex, they can all live
Right.
together happily on some lost spaceship continent. That's fine. No, that sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
Just the other day I was reading about an earthworm that was 1.1 feet long, and that was
It's
scary to
too
me.
long now.
I was like, ooh, I don't like the idea of it being a foot long. That's like my whole arm. Like, no thanks. And now
No.
you're telling me about a 3
Uh-huh.
foot long one. Seemed thick too. What'd you say
Yeah.
about 3 inches?
Three-quarters of an inch.
Okay, great. That's way
three
better.
3 inches would be
Yeah.
that's it. That's not a worm anymore. That's a snake.
Well, now that you've exposed me to this earthworm, that would have been my least favorite. I like it less than the other options that I found. But yeah, I found an Australis Motors, which is an automobile manufacturer that existed from 1897 to 1907. I think the car is maybe ruined a lot of things. So if this was, at the car's origin story, if I could travel back in time and, maybe make automobile manufacturing not take off, I don't think that would have had the worst results for us as a society. Another option I saw was the SS Australis, a passenger ship, which again doesn't really offend me, but industry, not kind of my favorite. And then my last, and would have been my favorite, or my favorite least favorite, or my least favorite, depending on how you want to put it, would be the New Age band Australis.
Oh, I liked that. I listened to some music.
Okay, great. Well, then you did better than me. I just threw it out of hand without listening. I'm glad you gave it a listen. I saw the categories ambient music, world music, electronic music, ethnic music, symphonic music, and soundtrack. And I thought this can't possibly be for me. But the greatest part about this podcast is not only do you expose me to terrifying earthworms, but you also do the hard research on Australis, the New Age band, as well. So you're saying maybe I should give it a listen.
It's good working music because I listen to a lot of instrumental stuff when I'm working and so I don't get distracted. But yeah, it's good background music while you're doing something else, while you're, whatever else.
So I should focus more on symphonic music and soundtrack and less on world music and ethnic music.
Definitely doesn't. I didn't listen to the whole catalog, but I would put it more in new age ambient sort of space. Did you see the Olympic Australis, the giant opal?
No, I did not. I love a good opal, though. No.
I did see that, and I was like, well, that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm like, where did it come from? Just I just had questions about it. So yeah, a giant opal, also called Olympic Australis.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
It's got a great name.
In Australia. Yep.
Shocker. Yep. All right, Kit. Our favorites and least favorites were quite extensive, but let's try to fill in the blanks between reality and fiction. What's something with the Australis brand that you wish existed?
Yeah, so I struggled a little bit with this until it all came together, and I was like, "Yep, this is the best idea I could come up with." So, Corona Australis is basically going to be a mashup between, a crown that you might wear, at a party or a show or to go out. So it's a crown, but
Hmm.
it's like a plasma ball crown. So you know those plasma balls where you like they have noble gases in them, and then like you touch it and it's like electricity. Oops. Um, it's that. So it's a crown with the
Yeah, yeah.
like
So it's like one of
electricity.
those
Yeah.
things at like a science museum that's
Yep.
like an
Mm-hmm.
orb, and you put your hand
Yep.
on it, and then all the lightning bolts are,
Yep.
directed to your hand. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
But a
Tell me more. Okay.
crown.
But a
So you wear
crown.
it.
Wow. Wow. I like that a lot.
I think it would be really good for Instagram.
Perfect. So it's like, does that count as bioluminescence? Is that
What?
biology? No, I guess that's
No.
mineral luminescence, phosphorescence,
Yeah, it's something to do with like voltage, electrodes, and noble
voltage.
gases. And
So
yeah,
this is a
I don't know
crown
how
you
they work.
wear, and then
Right.
it's a crown you wear, and if someone touches it, like the lightning bolts touch their finger, or how
Well,
does it work in regard to like when you're going out?
yeah, so just like the plasma balls, right, which are
Hmm.
constantly like you can see the electricity like around them as
Buzzing.
they're like
Yes.
just sitting there, and then when you touch it, it kind of like it looks like it's going to your
Concentrates. Yeah.
finger, right? So it'll be like constantly active, and then if somebody touches it, it'll kind of like go to their hand. So yeah.
Is there any way we can make it kind of like a mood ring that's
Ooh,
also
like
a
changes
crown?
color.
Yeah, like it changes color of the lightning bolts depending on if like, like if you're someone that you don't want to see shows up, it just like it's all bright red plasma ball. But if your friend shows up, it's your favorite color.
If you wear it to a music show, it'll like pulse in time with the music, like a
Wow, yeah.
waveform.
Now we're getting
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, this is some Windows Visualizer 2000 stuff. And
Exactly. You get it.
I'm here for it. That's the crown I want. I wish that existed too. You're right.
It would be so
Uh,
cool. So that's what I wished for. Jordan, what did you wish for?
Kit, I think you really carried the day here. What? And I'm jealous of your, imagination and interpretation. What I wish existed was something that I just called the Southern Crown Vinery. And it's an
Hmm.
Australian vineyard that I own
Mm-hmm.
and run with my
Great.
Australian friend Lee Ellis.
Right.
And it's just another kind of like bargain bin, cheap Australian wine. The one with the wine bottles with the kangaroo on them, the yellowtail or whatever it is. They
Uh-huh.
sell out. So I figure you get another Australian wine, put this little constellation on there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to the wine store. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what
Yep.
anything is. I see a kangaroo. I
Mm-hmm.
say, thanks. That looks great. If I see a constellation on a
Mm-hmm.
bottle of wine, I'm like, that's the one I'm gonna buy. To
Yep.
be fair, I
Yep.
do also co-host a podcast about constellations. But all the same, even if we weren't big sellers, I feel like owning a winery sounds like fun. And I'm the one who gets to pick what I wish existed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, an ideal world where me and Lee run a winery together in Australia. That's the Australis Southern Crown Vinery I wish existed.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Because I also agree, I definitely buy wine based on the labels. So yeah, so I would be very attracted to a wine bottle that had like a constellation on it or was like space themed. I'm sure this exists,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think that it's also a good name, like Corona Australis. It sounds like nice and like whimsical, and yeah, it's got a good sound and a great marketing sort of built in. It has the idea of like it being a crown, making it good, or royalty, and whether or not that's good is a whole different thing. But yeah, I like it. Sounds good, and I would buy it.
My other thing that I wish existed were just spring summer wreaths to be more
Hmm.
popular. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have seen them occasionally, but for the most part, you only see a wreath in winter, and
Mm.
it's always like made out of that same green and red sort of stuff. But there's all sorts of blooming going on in spring and summer.
Oh,
Let's get
oh,
some wreaths with plants. Yeah.
you mean like
Like
on the door?
On a door, yeah. I'm sure they already
Okay.
exist, and I looked at some of them, but I think we should start using them a lot more. I don't feel like
Yeah.
wreaths should just be a winter thing. Like if I showed up to your house and you're having a house party and you have like a beautiful circle full of like spring plants, flowers, I'm gonna be like, dang, this is a place to be. Yeah, I'm into it. So what I wish existed, yeah, were just spring wreaths on doors were more popular.
I initially thought you meant like flower crowns. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, want to make it a fashion statement. Just want to have flower crowns back. But yeah, I think they're very festive. I think I like to see flowers, and it would make your front door smell nice until, the flowers died. Such is
Yeah,
life.
that's what. Yeah, it's just and death. It's just one of those things you have to replace every month. Maybe
Right.
that is why they have winter wreaths. I hadn't thought about it using evergreens and certain
Hmm.
foliage that's a little bit more hardy. Maybe that
Yeah.
explains it. Well, you learned a little bit about aquaculture. I learned a little bit about botanical sustainability, and that's the beauty of this pod.
Well, it's only a matter of time before one of our wishes comes true. This has been Kit,
And Jordan.
sisters, lovers of stars and stories,
And we'll see you next time.
on Starry Time.